Hey everyone, it's me again. So sometimes I see those YouTube videos where people are like just talking to the camera, and I'm like, they aren't even doing anything. They didn't even edit anything. They didn't even do anything. They didn't even like write down what they had to say beforehand, like I did for today's video. And I'm like, you know what? That's actually kind of a skill. Like, it actually takes skill to be able to like talk to the camera for like X amount of minutes, like nonstop, and like not stumble on your words and not be repetitive and like keep a train of thought. Like that actually takes skill. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about the topic of how to pick a college. And hopefully this is in time for college matriculation season. I feel like April, maybe April, May is the time when you are supposed to pick the college that you go to. Unless, of course, you're like one of those people who like did early decision and you already are locked in for a college. But I feel like around this time is like the time when people typically like pick the college that they're going to go to. So I don't know. But anyways, sometimes I feel like I kind of have like a British accent, like a little bit. I don't know. But okay. So these are just a few things I wish I knew when I was picking a college. I went to three different colleges actually. I went to a big university, UCLA, which is where I eventually graduated from. I went to Moorpark College, which is a community college near me. And I also went to Williams College, which is a private liberal arts college. But I feel like, okay, so there's four main types of colleges. There's public state school, there's community college, there's private liberal arts college, and there's private name brand schools like Ivy Leagues. A public state school is like a big school with like a lot of students, kind of like UCLA. And a university is kind of like, it's called a university because I think it's kind of like a mini universe. You have like stores and you have like restaurants and stuff. It's kind of like essentially like a mini city, especially with the population. It's usually like tens of thousands of students. Like for UCLA, for example, I think there's like 30,000 undergrad and like 10,000 graduate students. So I feel like it's kind of like a like a mini universe. I think that's why they call it a university, a university. And then there's like a lot of campus life and parties. I feel like big universities are known for their campus life because it's such a big like campus usually. Like big state schools usually have such a big campus, a lot of things going on, like a lot of different clubs and things like that. And they usually have like fraternities and like sororities if you're into that sort of thing. So I feel like there's a lot of like parties and stuff like that, which could be a good thing or a bad thing because that could be like a distraction. And then at state schools, I feel like they also have pretty good quality professors. I feel like a pro to going to a big state school is that just being around like all those people and like just the fact that you're around so many people and like you're so stimulated and like there's so many different options for like restaurants and like stores and like clubs and parties, and you just the fact that you have to navigate all those different things, I think prepares you for life outside of college, because life outside of college you also have to go through a lot of different facets. And then the con, I think, of a big state school is that it's not really for the faint of heart, and you kind of have to be like prepared to be swept away a little bit. Like you might be swept away by like the sheer amount of students and the sheer amount of activities that are present on campus. So I would say it's not for the faint of heart. Like I would say like you definitely need to have a sense of yourself and it's easy to kind of like lose your sense of identity, especially when you're around like so many people. But yeah, pros, it prepares you for life outside of college. Cons, you might get kind of swept away a little bit. Community college is the second option I mentioned. Community college, of course, is not for all 4 years. It's usually a 2-year deal before you go to university that you might transfer to university. I think it's an affordable way to prepare for university. If if a 4-year university is not something that you immediately want to get into, then community college could be an affordable way. You could like work your way through community college and then like try to get a scholarship at a big university or something like that. And then I kind of wish I went this route originally. Like I feel like I wasn't prepared for real college. Like fresh out of high school, like just out of high school, like I wasn't prepared for the life of like actual college, like living on my own, things like that. And I felt like maybe community college could have been a good option to like ease your way into it, like type of thing. Cause I feel like I could have like started working like at a restaurant or like in retail or something and doing like community college at the same time. Cause that's doable, you know, cause community college is like also not that hard and it's not that high pressure and like the classes are like not as hard, you know, which might be kind of a con. And then yeah, you could also like stay at home, you know. You don't have to immediately like go like take off and like live on your own and you could like work at a restaurant or something and then transition from high school to university, yeah. So the pro of community college is that it's relatively cheap and it's also relatively easy. It's much cheaper than going to a state school or a private school, and it's much easier too, I would say. Having experienced both, I would say the coursework is much easier. I don't really know what the coursework compares to like at I mean, generally for the first 2 years, I would say non-major coursework is not that hard. I mean, at my liberal arts college, the physics and math classes were still pretty hard, but I'm sure like those are also equally as hard. I mean, the physics class was pretty hard. I will say the physics class I took at liberal arts college was really hard. But anyway, yeah, the pros are that it's cheap and easy. The con could be that it's too easy and that you don't really learn as much. You might not end up like learning as much in life and in class. So yeah. The next option is private liberal arts college. Private liberal arts college, the first thing that I want to say about it is that it's extremely expensive and it might not be too well known at the same time. So you might be paying like a super high sticker price for a college that might not even be very well known. Like I went to Williams College. Have you heard of Williams College? Even though Williams College was the top ranked like liberal arts college in the United States when I went, I feel like a lot of people still don't really know what Williams College is. Like a lot of people still don't really know what like liberal arts college is. So that might not be something that you want if name brand is something that you're going for. But something about liberal arts college is that it has like underground artsy vibes. It's kind of like underground artsy, you know, like hipster, you know, kind of artsy. It's in the name. It's called liberal arts college, so you are gonna have some arts. Like even if you're not going there for like a studio art major, you're going to encounter some like artsy types. And like even if you're doing like economics, well, maybe not. There were people, I feel like there was a divide between people who were there doing like economics or something who were trying to become like investment bankers or like consultants and like maybe like people who are like English and philosophy majors. I feel like there was kind of a divide there. But the social life can also be kind of cloistered and you can have very limited options. Yeah, like at a liberal arts college, usually the population is like 2,000 people or less. Um, and so the social life can be very cloistered and like limited options. I literally just said that. You might not just you just might not have that many options for like people that you have want to hang out with, and the like yeah, the pickings are might be slim, so you might not just have that many options to. But I mean, it's fine if you want to have like a very if you want to have like a very, cozy, tight knit community, then this might be the option for you. And then also, like, there's a very rarefied atmosphere to private liberal arts college, I would say. Like, it's very rarefied. Like, and what I mean by that is that, like, it has a very, like, I mean, it's in the name. It has a very, like, liberal, neoliberal, like, bent to it that, like, you might not find at, like, community college or, like, a state school. It just is very, like, very liberal, I would say. And the pro for liberal arts college is you can become very highly educated in a supportive environment. So I feel like, you can become very highly educated. Like the classes are tend to be very like in depth and very detailed and very like just very in depth. And the environment is very supportive. The professors that I had in liberal arts college were very like like you could get to know them. Like you could go to their office hours and you can really like get to know them and they will like take the time to like talk to you and like get to know you. I mean, you also have office hours at things like state schools, but there's just so many people that like it doesn't have the same feel to it. But I mean, you don't have to go to a liberal arts college to get a good education and have support. It's just that that's the pro that I thought of. And then con is that you might come out with kind of high expectations. And another con is that it's very like expensive. It's just a fact. Like liberal arts colleges tend to be more expensive and they tend to give less financial aid unless you're like unless you're like a minority or something. It's probably going to be like on the more expensive side. Last but not least, we have the option of Ivy League. Ivy League is also expensive. So I would say like unless you get a scholarship, I think you should reconsider like think about like going to an Ivy League just because it's a name brand. And then another thing about Ivy League is that you have connections to other people in the Ivy world. It's very highly connected. I mean, this is another thing about like liberal arts colleges too. Like, I mean, it really is like at any college you go to, like, you'll have a network of like that college is like alumni network. So if that's something that you're looking for, like, that's something to consider. And another thing about Ivy Leagues is obviously the high quality education, and then obviously also it's a name brand. So like wherever you go, you can say I went to Harvard or like I went to Yale, and like people will know what you're talking about. And then you have an opportunity for money after college because of the brand. I wrote this down a few months ago. I'm not sure if that's necessarily true. And then also you have yeah, opportunity for famous on-campus traditions and clubs. For example, at Harvard, you might have like or Princeton, like you'll get the opportunity to join like the famous eating clubs and things like that. And like this is also a thing at other colleges too. Like other colleges also have traditions. So I'll just leave it at that. So the pro for Ivy League is that you'll get a great education and then you'll also have a name brand for the rest of your life. And then the con is that you might not be able to relate to normal people and it also might be kind of isolating and stressful. So overall, like what is my recommendation? Like after all this blah blah, like what do I actually think is like the best option? For me, like at least if you're living in California, I recommend the community college to UC/CSU pipeline because I think it's the best experience and the best education. And UCs and like CSUs actually have a lot of resources, especially if you're trying to like, you know, it has a lot of resources for low income and like first generation students and things like that. And like I think I wish like if I could have done it all over again, I would have like just went to community college in the first place and then like transferred to a UC, to a state school, because I really wasn't ready to go to like liberal arts college. Like I was just like trying to party and like, like trying to live it up, and I wasn't really ready for the college experience. I feel like if I started out at community college and got some like work experience first before I transferred to a state school, I would have had a better experience overall. But I mean, it's all really based on fit. Like, try to visit if you can. Like, I think it's really based on like which school you feel is the best fit. If you feel like you're not ready to go to college yet, to go live on your own, then of course I think community college is a good option. I think the community college system in America, at least, is a very good and like often overlooked option. I feel like I didn't even really seriously consider community college when I first like was going to college. And like maybe this video is really just to advocate for community college as a route, because I feel like, yeah, I feel like I just really didn't even consider it as like a real option for me. Maybe because I was biased, or maybe because I'm like kind of privileged or something. But yeah, good luck if you're watching this. You already got in, so congratulations. College is going to be so great. It's difficult, but it's amazing. It's an amazing experience. Not necessarily the best 4 years of your life, but honestly, I feel like going into it with the attitude of this is going to be the best 4 years of my life, I'm going to live it up, is not the most sustainable approach. Like, go into it as I'm here to learn, I'm here to have good experiences, I'm here to make connections, I'm here to meet cool people and talk to my cool professors and like get to have a little more freedom than I did like before I went to college. So yeah, that's all I had to say on this topic. I made an outline so I wasn't all over the place. Maybe this is a better... I kind of feel a little less scatterbrained talking this way, but I also feel a little more fascist. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's all for today. Bye.